Kirk, DeWindt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, lad.
How's life for you right now?
Life's good, man. Why are you
Good.
asking me?
Just we haven't caught up. We haven't talked since our last episode.
So 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. It's
I've
been
had
2 days.
I've had an eventful and uneventful 2 days since I've seen you last.
Okay.
Yeah,
In what way?
no real life updates. A couple sleepless nights.
Why?
I know what you're asking because you want to get at this one thing.
I'm not leading the witness at all. You just you tell what's on your heart.
Well, I found some poison ivy
Ooh,
somewhere in the woods, or poison oak, or poison sumac. I don't know which one. And that stuff, my tolerance to it must be getting less and less every year because every time I get it, it's worse,
yeah.
and it's generally in more places.
Okay.
Yep.
So where is it?
Why are you asking?
I'm a curious cat.
Well, it's on my right tricep. It's on my entire lower abdomen. It's on my left quad, and it's on, take a guess.
Genitals.
Lucky me.
Nice.
And the worst is I can make sense of it. I must have been out in the woods, which I was this past weekend, and I probably peed once, and exactly where my hands would have gone to undo a belt and pull the pants down a little bit. It's it almost tells a story, this poison ivy, of what I did.
And yet not on your hands.
Yeah, I can't make sense of it. My hands are fine.
Interesting.
But I wasn't walking around the woods with no pants on
Well, no,
or
you
underwear.
weren't
So
at the
right.
campground.
So clearly it wasn't direct contact with the nether regions. It had to come from my hands, which are fine.
Yeah. Your
So
medical
that's some
mystery.
sleepless nights. Benadryl to put me asleep. I asked Brakken guys to push the podcast recording back today because I haven't been able to sleep. So I took some meds, some Benadryl, and then I was like, I needed a nap because I just been up all night itching everywhere excessively.
Sounds
So
fun.
that's where I'm at. Yeah. How about you?
I'm
Can you
doing
follow that
fine.
up? Yeah.
Yeah, training's going well.
Tell me more about your training.
I'm to the point now where I am becoming less sore from activities.
Like training activities
Training
or
activities, lifts, quality sessions are affecting me less.
okay. What would be an example of that more specifically?
Like inner upper thigh groin area from squats or lunges. No longer feels like I have micro tears every time I do those kind of things.
Even the next couple days, you're kind of okay now.
Yeah, the first couple days, mid sets, in between set 2 and 3, I'm already like, oh man, I don't want to sit down because I may not get up. And then the next couple days is creaky, and now it's okay. Like calves, first couple interval sessions back or anything up tempo, calves are sore and tired by the end of it. That's reduced down now. Hip flexors, the first two true quality runs I did, and my first incline session where I was running aerobic threshold at 15% in between doing some dynamic things. My hip flexors were angry at me during the workout by the end. And that's not happening anymore. So I'm not yet improving, feeling faster or better, but I'm improving from not being destroyed by things. And that's a form of improvement. My tolerance is rising.
Yeah, your availability is also rising with it because when you don't pay the piper as bad on the back half, you're available to do more work sooner. The thing you just said about doing squats and then not wanting to sit down because getting back up might be a problem even during the session, for example. I forgot about that feeling. So the last time that I took off anything more than a week from strength training, I can tell you, was 2007. So 18 years ago, I took 6 months off of working out. I didn't work out. This was on purpose for 6 months. And I remember returning to the gym. I started running then a little bit, 3 miles every other day, and the gym again. And it actually in the moment can render you useless when you're not accustomed to that work. It's been so long since I had felt that, but I remember re-implementing then. And that feel, even on a bench press or something, like doing it and then being like when it hits you, like you can't push through, your body is done, there's no rebounding, and then you pay the piper big time. Like, it's been a minute, but that's what you're sort of describing.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah, very much so.
What shoes are you running in for the work that matters? We'll call it.
So I did your 400s, but much less of them. 45 seconds rest rather than 30. I gave myself a little grace there because I needed it. But I did that workout in the what's it called? The VJ. Why am I blanking on this name?
Probably the light speed
Light
is what you would
speed.
have done it in. Yeah. So you did it on terrain.
I did on grass, smooth grass, smoothish grass. Yeah, relatively flat, just straight. 400 down, 400 down, turn around, 400 back, 400 back. I have like a 790-meter strip of grass I can use close to the house. So I did that.
For being such a shoe guy, I'm surprised you weren't putting on like a plated yet cushioned super shoe for something like that.
I'm
Even
trying
like
to
your Wave
avoid.
Rebellions.
I'm trying to avoid plates right now. Plates tend to flare up like this feeling of ankle tendonitis. And you know that I've talked about it, like this insane inflammation response to anything in my knees and ankles. And so like a little bit of sore in my ankle feels like I have a torn tendon. It's very strange for like 2 days and then it's fine. So I found that most, not all, but most plated shoes will give that to me, especially when I'm returning to running. My ankles have to be strong to be able to handle them well. So I haven't done much in plates.
I guess that makes sense.
Which feels weird though, because you get so used to running all your quality sessions in plated shoes.
I feel like super shoes plates have saved my legs and have made me more available, to be honest.
Yeah, and they do, except for especially my right ankle. It's very specific. And if I'm running straight line, it's much better.
Yeah, and I agree. If you wear some of the plated super shoes, for example, like I really do enjoy the Asics Metaspeed Sky, but if you put in 7 miles of quality work on the track, I'm blistered on my inside arch. But if I'm in a straight line or doing typical road running with right and left turns and not always a circle, totally fine. Same with a lot of the super shoes. They hit me hard if I put too much mileage going in the same direction on a track.
Yeah. Yeah. They just force your foot to angle slightly differently than it might, or articulate a little differently than it might want to. So I'm already adding stress to that area and articulation. I don't want to also do it in a rigid manner too often. I
just always know you're on top of the shoe game and was curious what you were leaning on these days.
I'm not. I'm trying to do like very natural, easy running right now.
Hey, do you want to hear something sad?
I guess.
Other than my personal situation, is Nike Foot Locker Nationals. Remember the biggest high school meet every fall, national championship? She done. She gone. Announced this year. The doors are closed. Shop's done.
Foot Locker's done.
Foot Locker, Nike Nationals will not be this fall.
Wow. Those Nike Cross Nationals still happening?
I don't know. Somebody sent me the link. It's been, I can read you the statement, but 45 years they've had cross country high school Foot Locker Nationals. It's just one of the best events put on. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was Nike Foot Locker. I thought it was just Foot Locker Nationals.
Wait, it is Foot Locker. I'm sorry.
Because there's Nike Cross and then there's Foot
Nike
Locker.
Cross. I was hybriding. Yes, correct. It's Foot Locker. Is Foot Locker even relevant anymore?
Nike switched over somewhere just before COVID, I think, to be the preeminent nationals.
No, I mean like the actual store Foot Locker.
Not to an athlete anymore.
Yeah, I can't
it's
even
like sneakerheads will go there, I think.
Okay.
Malls are not that applicable anymore, and Foot Locker was very much a mall-based store.
Right, that's what I remember about it. But I just can't imagine like it's going to pay off for Foot Locker to be a title sponsor of a big meet like that anymore. They have no business. I can't imagine.
Right.
Anyways, that's the sad news that
That is. I
thought you
ran
should know.
Foot Locker regionals at Parkside most of those years.
Yeah,
Never
right,
got
guys.
close to qualifying.
A lot of fast people running at that Parkside venue.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anything else we need to get off our chest before we get into today's episode?
I do have to get off my chest that the more I thought about the episode, the more I realized I left some things out. If we had, that was an episode I wish we had 90 minutes.
Okay.
Like the overrated aspects. I just kept thinking of more.
We could do part twos.
Should
Today
we?
Well, here's the thing. I don't have an overrated list in my brain right now. We could do our underrated list today, and then if we feel like we need to clean it up next week, we could. Whatever you would like.
I have
The plan was
several things that I do wish I had said. So let's do a part 2.
today?
Tomorrow. I mean, Tuesday.
Okay, so we'll give them the underrated episode today.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That'll give me some time to think on it too.
Okay.
Huh, you must have been I've been laying up in bed at night. I should have been thinking of these things.
I've been exercising a little bit more, Kirk. I suddenly have just time to think.
Just been lathering myself in calamine at midnight. It's real treat over here at the DeWindt household.
I do want to brag. I want to flex on you real quick. All this karting stuff.
Okay. You're going to flex on me about karting?
No, about just being a mechanical man now. I fixed an inverter generator last night.
I don't even know what that is. So that you're flexing.
Just a generator with a pure sine wave inverter attached to it. It's a cleaner running, easier on electronics thing, but we have one and I hadn't run it in a year. And that is not good for it. And it wasn't working. And it's not even a complex thing, but I did it without instructions. And I had every tool and chemical necessary for the job in my garage.
Wow.
At this time last year, I didn't have any of these things. And I just felt like the most accomplished I've felt since fatherhood.
Congratulations. Do you feel like if you continue down this path with Braden and he continues to take karting to the next level, whatever that may be, would there be a serious route for you to create a side hustle or something?
No.
Or in this space?
A side hustle, yes, but not with my hands.
What do you mean?
I will never catch up on the mechanical skills that these people have. I will never bring anything to the table that someone would want to pay for. But as the voice for the new people to the sport, like an intro to guide, I could do a very good job on because I was as new as it comes and nothing was intuitive to me. So I could do that kind of thing. Idiot's Guide to Karting or a newbie's tool list, checklist, must-haves, that kind of thing. Sure. But I'll never be wrenching for money.
It's a very valuable skill to have, and it will probably translate to your own vehicles, to other mechanical things and problems in your life, whether it be a lawnmower or a snowblower or whatever. You've just leveled up. I'm not great with that stuff. I've never had to be.
I never wanted to be. Yeah. I still don't know if I want to have this stuff rattling around in my head, but it's starting to become useful.
Well, I don't know. Do you want me to give you a medal?
No. I just wanted to toot my own horn. I'm happy just saying it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start with something like that.
The time you dressed your first deer.
Okay.
That's how I felt last night.
I think very different.
I did this. This was me. No one helped me with this.
This is like getting my grass to grow perfectly.
There you go.
And I felt really accomplished with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sweet. All right. We can always do a part-time karting podcast. Yeah.
Oh man, who? I'm sure people would listen to that from others who are good at it and know what they're talking about, but not me.
We need more car analogies. All right.
That was the time I should be doing that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right.
Last time, kick this thing off. Go ahead.
Yeah. Last time we did the most overrated aspects of training. Today, flip side of the coin, the most underrated components, aspects, topics for getting faster, for improving, for being a better runner. I could do multiple episodes on the overrated, but the underrated is way more satisfying to talk about. Because a lot of this is opinion.
For sure.
And you would get a different list from probably like the vast majority of people you talk to.
I did get 2 people from the last episode chimed in with either questions or thoughts. And this is just, I mean, as of this morning, so a day after the episode's released, about your cooldown take.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wanting either clarity, like, I guess I didn't really understand, or they had more questions about like, why is it the cooldown stupid, in your opinion? Paraphrasing, of course.
Right. I could see how it maybe wasn't articulated the best. So maybe when we do part 2, I open with a clarification of why I think cooldowns are one of the most overrated parts of the sport. Running cooldowns.
I thought you were pretty clear to be.
Eventually.
I thought we cleared it up, but yeah.
But
all right.
I got a message right before this started from an athlete I work with. That was like a gif of them when they heard me say that. And I didn't get to open it and respond to it yet, but
a gif of them doing what?
I think being like shocked or surprised or feeling called out.
I'm going to start with an easy one.
Okay.
One of the most underrated tools, I think, as a runner. And I'm kind of piggybacking something I had said about Garmin being one of the most overrated training tools. I think that the premium paid for version of Strava and using its tracking device as a valuable training tool is one of the most underrated and simple things we can do as a runner to understand what the training has done to us and help us make sense of our fitness, lack thereof, why we felt good, bad, raced well, poorly. I used to write a handwritten log. I did it for over a decade, maybe 2. You did as well. And there's no comparing anymore to what Strava can simply do with the data it gives me back and the way it tracks. I don't keep a handwritten log anymore. I only use Strava, and it gives me more than my handwritten log could. So I guess I'll just start with that. I can elaborate, and you can tell me what you think.
Well, I want to say that I want to agree.
Okay. Well, if you don't, tell me why.
But what I struggle with Strava is user error, I think, because my perceived exertion scale does not align with Strava. So I just ran into this again as I had a batch of workouts uploaded from my watch. And that is that it asked, how did that effort feel? And I wanted to give it a 7 out of 10. And that said hard. As you click to the 7th nodule,
were you adding a manual entry?
No. After it uploads, it asks your exertion on that. How did that feel?
I've never had it do that. It's never had it prompt me for that.
If you call it a workout,
never.
You're absolute. I guess I don't know about others, but if you do it as a quality workout, as a workout,
okay,
it asks for what scale, and it's just a sliding scale. It just looks like a timeline with 10 dots.
Yeah, which I do with a manual entry. It says relative effort, and then I use the scale, but I don't. Not for one that my watch actually records. I've never been prompted.
Okay, maybe.
Anyways,
because mine's coming from Koros, I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, if I think moderate ends at 6 and hard starts at 7, and because I'm pedantic and I'm a stickler for verbiage, 7 is not hard.
7's uncomfortable. It's not hard.
I call 7 like moderate to moderate hard at best. Moderate hard at absolutely hardest. 8 is even like borderline hard to me. Like an 8 out of 10 effort is not hard for a long time. And it can get hard. Anyway, I do so many of my workouts between a 7 and an 8 out of 10, and Strava counts that all as hard, and they're not. They're specifically like the workout I just did with 400 is not hard. It was a 7 out of 10 effort, and that wants to say hard. And so I never know what they want to reward in the algorithm, the 7 or the verbiage hard. Like, I don't know. And maybe it doesn't matter, but if I want to say moderate, I have to call it a 5 out of 10. But that was not a 5 out of 10 effort in my estimation. So I don't know which one to count it as. So I want to know what you do, but I guess you don't.
Well, that's not even part of my thought process with why I like. So it
No,
doesn't really
what I'm
matter.
saying though is if I do that incorrectly, I don't think it's going to tell me correctly
I get what you're
because of
saying.
the work of my metrics and all that I'm putting in.
Yeah, but if you were to scale that from a 6 to a 7, your relative effort for the day would increase
Right.
based on just where the subjectivity of where you slid that scale. So you would be rewarded if you felt like it was a 7. You put a 7 no matter what, like it's still going to slide the relative effort scale according to how you felt.
But is it going to say I did more than I did?
I don't
That
know.
was a 7 out of 10 for me. That was easy moderate. And it says that was a hard workout.
So let me explain.
Okay.
And I get what you're saying.
So I just don't know if I can trust what it's telling me in return off that because we're not speaking the same language.
Well, I've never had it prompt me for that.
It also
And
might be because I
generally,
don't have heart rate enabled right now.
oh, that's exactly probably why. That's 100% what it is. That's 100% what it is. It's
Yeah.
relying on your subjective. Okay. So, and yes, I'm glad you brought that up now because I believe when it's paired with an external heart rate monitor, that is reliable. It is such a valuable tool. So, for example, one, I don't always know what efforts have done to me necessarily. You can have a good day, feel good, click along, RPE low, but output is output and heart rate is heart rate and work is work. And it logs that perfectly. And looking at your monthly fitness score and your weekly relative total effort output, it will log that for you over time and tell you where you're falling currently. And I can actually now go and make sense and say, hey, my relative effort for the week should be somewhere around 600. And once I stack a few too many of those weeks, guess what? I hit a wall and I can tell like I just need to actually like let's lower the output. And it doesn't even matter if I run the same mileage. Just go easier on some of your sessions or keep the quality more bite-sized. Give yourself the reprieve it needs and say I go 3 600 effort weeks in a row and then I throw a 350 in there. Guess what happens the following week? I'm back and I feel good and I was due for that recovery effort. And so I actually use it as a reliable, objective tool to the output each week. And I can make sense of how I'm feeling based on that and then make training decisions based on that. On top of that, looking at workload and output leading into races that have gone well or poorly, looking into making sense of past data, I think it's so valuable. One, it's validating if you're working hard and getting better. And two, it also tells me like, hey, you are riding the line. It's pretty accurate. So you may not feel so good coming up. So think about backing off. And I need those guide rails. And so I think it does a really nice job. And the algorithm has changed, which has thrown me off recently because it's scoring things higher. So I'm recalibrating like how I look at it. But like for me, it's been honestly super invaluable. And like when I'm in cross training mode, if I've been injured and I'm only running 3 days a week, but my output is high on other things, it does reward you and say, hey, no, you have been still putting in the correct amount of time doing the correct amount of things when mileage doesn't look as good as it should on paper due to having to cross train or something else. And so it keeps me on course very, very well. And I rely on it heavily to make training decisions now. And I feel like it hasn't misled me.
Well, I love it. I am in favor of anything that informs good decision making.
And like it's race predictors, I feel like are like the reason I actually put stock in it is I feel like the race predictors for me are almost within seconds, most of the time, even within a couple minute range in something as long as a marathon. And like that's a pretty like if it's getting that somewhat right in my head, I trust that the other metrics it's recording are probably somewhat close as well. And so I just think it's worth dissecting and starting to make sense of the data you're getting from Strava and actually looking, analyzing, processing, and making decisions based on it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a good tool
I
for
agree with
like
that.
$79 a year or something. That's a steal.
Okay.
That's
And
it.
I pay that too. I'm in.
And
But
that
I
makes
don't use
sense
it the
about
same way you do.
the no heart rate thing makes sense. Yeah, I think it does rely on RPE then.
I've been doing no heart rate in this build now.
Is it freeing or
Yeah, it's
confining?
nice. I've been doing and I don't care about pace right now. It's everything is breathing and in stride feeling. I used heart rate for the first week straight confirmed that the things I was feeling was showing up. They were showing up on the watch, and then I got rid of it. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to push for anything.
Hmm. Good. I'm pretty married to it right now, so I don't know how I would feel doing that.
Yeah.
Probably fine.
I think we get used to anything, and I'm used to
Yeah.
it not having it now, and it's nice.
That's right. When we ran together about a month ago, you didn't have your heart rate monitor when we did our run. I thought that was peculiar because you always had it. The Bracken I knew for years always had his Wahoo ticker fit around his forearm or around.
Yeah, I find when I'm in shape, like good shape, I need it
Mm.
for because I'm tempted to do more. I'm not tempted to do more right now. I don't.
Mhm, mhm.
I all data can tell me right now is that I'm fat, slow, out of shape, and useless as a human being. Like that's how I would interpret what it's telling me. Right? I'm gonna see the worst in the data. So I'm not taking it. I don't need it. I ran 400s the other day, and I didn't look at splits. I
Mm.
just ran them by feel.
Oh,
Like that's a weird way to do it, but it was nice to be like, all right, I don't feel like I'm fading. I feel like I'm just running, changing my stride a little bit, and then whatever it says afterwards. But it didn't stop me from completing the workout with depression.
you're being hard on yourself. You
No,
look
I'm
great.
being a bit facetious, but like
I
that's
know you are.
truly a bit how I feel.
So would one of the more underrated things be not using heart rate and running and not taking splits? Is that an underrated thing as a runner?
No, because I don't think long term that's a good plan for getting faster, which great segue. This brings me to what I'm going to start with, which is I think progressive, detailed plans are underrated for long term development. I think training by feel can be really good for seasons of life. But if you want to improve for years and decades, I think scaling things upwards and outwards, having a scripted progression in how you perform your runs is very underrated.
Uh, be a little more detailed.
Okay, so I think that not I think like we've talked about it before. You have volume, you have intensity, and you have frequency. And I think if people aren't really being specific with how they're playing around with those things, you're leaving things on the table for long-term development. So right now, what I'm doing, going by feel, I'm trying to hit this range of reps. Great. I'm going to do that until things start feeling accessible to me and just like a little easier and I start wanting to do more, and then a progression is going to start. Like doing this part right now is fine, it's great, but that is not a long-term plan, I don't believe. I think that the more we do something, the more our blinders come on and cover our face. And so I think we need to always be following a set of principles for how to move forward. So the example would be like the training you were just doing, your 400s with 30 to 45 seconds rest, running them at roughly 10K pace, doing them, not trying to dig, not trying to improve necessarily each time, trying to execute each time. That's
Mhm.
a really easy workout to repeat over and over and over and forget to scale it, forget to progress it. I think starting with 12 and then moving to 14 and then moving to 16 and then 18 and then 20 and then 22 and then 24, and then seeing if you can decrease rest over time or see if you can raise incline on some of them or see if you can then reset down and now go through 2 seconds per rep average faster throughout. And having a progression you follow is in any given season of life, maybe not fun, but it's the thing that keeps years of progression happening.
The
What does
yeah,
this workout lead to in the next block?
the Jakob Ingebrigtsen approach.
Yeah, or really like anything. I'm doing the old school style. I'm running 400s for 2 weeks, then I'm running 600s, then I'm going 800s, and then thousands, and then 1200s, and then miles, and then I'm going to reset and do them all faster. Like, is that a little too cookie cutter? I don't know, maybe, but it gives you, by the time you're done with that, you just did 3 months of training and you know what the next 3 months are going to look like now based on resetting, doing it faster, or changing the rest on that.
I feel like there's like different types of athletes. Like some people thrive on those tiny little nuance changes. Like I'm going to do one more rep of 3 minutes this
Yep.
week than last week, and that's enough. And then some need novelty
Yeah,
uh, just to stay engaged with it.
for sure.
My learnings recently, and I am going to experiment with a few athletes I'm working with in different variations of this, I think. And some have now come to me and said, hey, I would be interested in that. I can tolerate doing the same session every week with the goal of long-term progression. I've had 2 come to me now and say, I would like to try that.
Yeah.
And I certainly didn't get worse. And I enjoyed adding 15 seconds a rep every
Yep.
2 weeks. That's all I did. 3-minute intervals, 3-minute 15 intervals, and 3-minute 30 intervals. And it took me 5 or 6 weeks to get through that. And my fitness certainly didn't backtrack. So I found it beneficial. I could see the appeal in constantly cycling through
Mhm.
versions of that, and then race specific starting 4 to 6 weeks out. If
Yeah.
you're, and you could probably build the best fitness of your life that way.
And that was just an example of a really cookie cutter, narrow-minded version of it. I think it could also be the opposite. It could be, I'm doing randomized workouts, whatever I feel like doing that week, but I'm having 20 to 25 minutes of quality on Tuesday, and I'm doing 30 to 40 minutes of threshold work on
Yeah.
Saturday. And next block, the 20 to 25 becomes 22 to 27. Now, I might do a 1-2-3 fartlek. I might do a Hobie tempo. I might do a 6-mile tempo. I might do a 5-mile interval set, but they all have to add up to X amount of work at X amount of intensity.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next block, I'm bumping it up 2 to 4 minutes extra. And then I get race specific my final 4 to 6 weeks, but then I pick back up at the second highest level I was at. And now I progress that up more. So even if you did randomized run by field training, having some version of volume, intensity, or frequency that is intentionally modulated in an upward progression throughout blocks, linking them together, I think is highly underrated, because I think we tend to do one or the other, right? You buy a book and you follow it and you do micro adjustments, or you wing it and go by feel. But like, there is a version of both that needs to still have freedom, but also scheduled progression. And how do we, even if it's just volume, I'm winging all my workouts, but I did 40 miles for 3 weeks. Now I'm down to 32, and then I'm up to 45 for 3 weeks and down.
Mm-hmm.
So I almost don't care which one you're progressing, as long as you're intentionally progressing things.
So I coach much the way you're talking about time domains for the quality sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Even though the workout looks very different on paper, it could be quarters, it could be mile repeats, it could be a threshold session, but the time domains that I think that seems to keep people's interest. It's a safer bet as a coach, I think, to have athletes think you're earning your paycheck. I hate to say it.
For sure.
Or like, oh, these are different workouts each week. He's not just giving me a template, or you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
the version of simplicity that you're talking about may be equally or more effective than the second descriptor, potentially.
I think as long as there's intent and you can draw the thread through the training, even if you went from training book to training book every 6 months, you could either do Jack Daniels and then do Rubio's and then go do Canova's training, or turn around and go do Northern Arizona Elites training. You can just do that. Or you can say, I'm doing this within the confines of 50 to 60 miles per week this week. And the next book I pick up, I'm starting at that 55 and going to 65, and I was getting 3 hours of quality here. So when I pick back up here, I'm starting with 3 hours of quality here. Like, having something that's a constant that you are intentionally progressing, I think that is really underrated.
I don't disagree. I agree with you, I think.
Okay.
And I've given it a decent experiment myself recently. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think it's really good if you're like you, when you're self-described fit, and me, I find I can get fit too quick and then have nowhere to go with it, but the race isn't for a while.
Yeah.
It's really good at building fitness, but assuring you're timing it correctly.
It's an
Right?
advanced problem to have, but if you're like, I'm just running 50-mile weeks for a while, and on week 3, you're like, I can handle 70.
Right.
Boom, I'm running 70s, and I'm also doing my quality up with that. It's like, yeah, I handled it. I was healthy, but 6 weeks later, I didn't have anywhere to go.
Well, it's more like the descriptor of like my season ends in September, and looking back, like I was popping races in June, and I'm not that athlete now. I don't have that arrow in my quiver anymore. Like I look back and my best racing was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But yet your season ends in September, but your best races were in July. That athlete I think falls really nicely in the camp of that, like,
Yeah.
purposeful, controlled progression. Just hold back a little longer, stay in these confinements a little longer, and then play with whatever sessions you want when it comes to peaking. But the athlete who like peaks early in hindsight,
Yeah.
they're like, shoot, it was a month ago. I missed it. That is an athlete. And I put myself in that box sometimes.
Yeah. Some people need to be motivated to keep looking for more by this progression, and others need to be held back from taking too much early by
Yeah.
a scripted progression. But when we think scripting, some people are turned off by that because now every single workout is like immobile. It's set in
Yeah.
stone. I have to do it. There are so many versions of it. You have 3 big variables. Play with one.
It's really good advice.
Thanks. Can you feel my voice is going today?
You just did there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just losing it. It feels like I haven't lost my voice in a while.
You've been screaming at the track.
No, no, I've had congestion from allergies, and I wake up having mouth breathe for a couple hours with
Mm.
no saliva left in my throat or mouth anywhere, and it's terrible. And then I did race brain right before this and 2 meetings right before that. And I think the combination of the all night long mouth breathing with too much talking today, I'm gonna lose my voice today.
If you lose your voice the first week you're supposed to start teaching, that would be a sign.
That's hilarious.
It would be funny as well.
And it used to be that's what happens your first week of teaching. You're out of shape.
Yeah.
I'm in great talking shape.
My next underrated thing is going to be not very profound. I don't think anybody might change anything because of what I'm about to say, but it is fact. You reminded me of this. Seeing my college teammate out in Monterey reminded me of this. Running with people is so underrated. It's worth going way out of your way to do to enhance either the quality of sessions that matter or just not use some of your mental given Fs on staying engaged with the recovery run that you just are kind of lulled by.
Yeah.
I ran a long run the day before I saw you in Milwaukee. And then suddenly with you and company, it was like, yeah, let's do some more miles. I'm enjoying your company.
Yeah.
When I ran with Dave, the RPE was way lower at the pacing we were running. And I would not have tempoed at 5:16 pace in the middle of a long run on my own. Not a chance. But with him there, it was helpful. And in my current long runs, all alone, they're not hard long runs right now. I'm mostly putting low grade time on feet. I'm just bored and want to be done. It has nothing to do with being so tired I can't run or I'm tipping. It's just like, I just don't want to be on the roads anymore after 90 minutes. If I had Brakken next to me or my friends, it would take so much less mental fortitude to just stay with it. And
Yeah.
so I think when it comes to like RPE of your entire week, how hard was training? I think having people to your right and left bring that way down and make you more available for consistent training. And I wish I would take advantage of that more. I think it's invaluable for so many reasons, not just to get more out of you on hard days. It is also like saves mental arrows in your quiver just by having company.
Yeah. I could not agree more. And this isn't on my list to talk about today. So I'm really glad you did. We've said before, and you hear it other places, humidity is the poor man's altitude. Well, I'm going to say a way better phrase, which is group runs are the poor man's doping and super shoes.
Ooh, I like it.
I,
You see all the doping violations recently?
it's bad.
Parvez Khan, come on.
It's bad right now.
Parvez, they're just everywhere right now. It's terrible.
And the really bad part is you're finding out about it months and years later, and people were competing throughout some of these things.
Or
That's
like
really unfortunate.
Parvez was basically penalized over a year ago and it never hit media. Like it was just like, where'd he go? Why hasn't he been around? And then it's like, no, he got busted a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too
Anyways,
bad.
sorry to interrupt.
Not to get all depressive today, but when you look at super shoes, they're talking 4% in running economy is the number they're trying to hit or beat. Running economy, not like just pure 4% faster or better. I am 4% faster or better with a group. No doubt about it. You look at the placebo effect, it's up to 7% is the placebo effect. And drug companies try to match or beat the placebo effect. I am up to 7% better next to you than I am without you. It's non-negotiable. It's undebatable. Absolutely, I am 4 to 7% better. And it costs minimum 4 to 7% less mental fortitude to get these workouts done. You talked about the recovery days. You go out for a recovery run with the boys, you are not noticing that you're running the vast majority of the time. You go out for a recovery run by yourself, and every step you're aware that this is tough after yesterday's workout. You don't disappear into a recovery run by yourself very often.
I find running so boring, Bracken. I do.
Yeah.
I find running incredibly boring. And you know when it's not boring? When I'm in pain. So I find on my quality days, it puts me in a place that makes running not boring
Yeah.
because of the output, right? Running isn't boring for me on quality days. It's invigorating, engaging, sometimes dreadful. But you tell me to go up for my 10-mile recovery runs, and it's like one of the worst 70 minutes of my week. Not because I'm being dramatic, but like
No, I
it
get
just
it.
isn't stimulating. It's a slog. Yeah, go 10. I could turn around and do 8. Like just do what you need to do because they just numbing, and running with somebody would help me a lot in there. And I'm going to still do the work because this is who I am. But like, I wish I had a crew right now. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah. In quality sessions, I will get 10 to 20% more volume in at the same effort with a team. Or
You
my
got in a
reps
couple
will,
extra miles with me in Milwaukee.
yeah. Yeah. If I was going to do, let's say, 200s at mile pace, I'm making it 20% longer with a group of people to work with. Without a doubt. And I agree with you. Running is inherently boring. And anyone who wants to react negatively to that, my answer would be that if that were true, or sorry, if that were not true, you know what people wouldn't do? You know what you don't do when you're stimulated is listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks,
Thank
listen to
you.
rock music. Like when you are not bored, you don't search for white noise. When you're
Mhm.
dialed in, at best you have like elevator music in the background, but you don't even notice it. When you're playing a game you love or you're in a conversation you love, you're never like, "Hey, do you mind if I put on this true crime podcast in the background while we talk?" Because I am so dialed with you that it would enhance that. No, you put that in to distract yourself from what the task at hand is, because oftentimes it's tedious. Running's tedious. I'm with you, interval sessions, long runs, tempo sessions, things like that. I don't need those for. But my goodness, if I'm not in the mountains, I need to have something to listen to on recovery days.
Anybody who says running on county highways isn't boring is a straight up liar
Or a psychopath.
or a psychopath. You're not being, listen, I love this pastime probably more than 99% of the people listening.
Yes.
But let's not kid ourselves, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Most of the time.
this is our love language. We're coming up on 550 episodes of talking about running. We can say that we find you boring and indispensable in our life at the same time.
Mhm. What's interesting about saying how like you don't need podcasts or music to distract you if you're engaged. I brought my headphones with me at Grandma's Marathon. I'll never even consider it again. It was so funny. I'm like kind of in the back of the pack. I'm 6 miles in. I'm very engaged with the effort, right?
Yeah.
And still feeling good. So things were going well. I'm like, I'm going to click the on button on my headphones. It went in and it could have been the most banger song ever. I found it to be an annoying
Distracting.
nuisance distraction. It's
Yeah.
like every other run, I want it there just because, but I was so present that like the music, I took them right out. I mean, I bet you made it 15 seconds. Nope, this don't feel right. Done. So
Yeah.
your case in point is very true. I noticed that on race day.
I would say minimum 50% of the runs that I do that are longer than an hour have some sort of cut down to them. I love cut downs and out and backs. And the way that works is they start with music or a podcast. Oftentimes it starts with a pot or an audiobook on the way out. And then as I turn around to get to work, I'll just switch over to some music. And invariably at some point between 3 miles and a mile to go, somewhere in there, I have to just turn it off because the work is stimulating enough. Now it's a distraction. I want to sink into this and be like, it's not like I need to be present for this, but like I need to be present for this. I want to be. I want to fantasize about closing down a race during this. I want to fantasize about kicking someone down. I want to imagine my next big triumphant moment, or I need to bite down, or I'm having a blast doing this. I want to absorb this. At some point, the greatest pump up playlist in the world with a mile or two or three left is no longer what I want.
Yeah, that's the different version of that would be like I get down to the business end of workouts or long runs, and I'm like, I don't know the last 6 songs that played. I know it was there, but
Yeah.
I might as well have not even been because I don't know because it's almost blocked out.
I sometimes time trial to music.
Hmm.
Like 5K time trials, nothing shorter than a 5K, but 5K simply to tune out my gasping.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's just really depressing sometimes to be like a mile and a half in and being like, and realize like this guy, I can hear him dying. I don't want that. So I'll put music in just to cover that up.
Yeah.
And I start noticing it when I'm on Pandora because I don't have a premium account there when the commercial kicks in. I won't even have heard any music for a mile, and suddenly a commercial kicks in. I'm like, what is this? And I rip the headphones out. Like, it's just gone. It's out of sight, out of mind.
I don't know how we ended up there because we were talking about running with people, and this is somehow where we ended with that.
That's what you do when you're not with
Bit.
people.
Yeah,
Anyways, running with people is a performance enhancing experience. The
100%.
only downside to that is you can run yourself into the ground in a few weeks if you don't stay on top of that. It's too easy to reach for more with your buddies because, oh, they're going for a few more, I'll go for a few more, or they're running a little faster than I should be, I'll run a little faster because you can.
Yeah, then just pay attention to what your Strava metrics are telling you.
And there you
Keep it
go.
in line. Perfect,
There you,
perfect symbiotic circle.
full
Uh,
circle.
all right, what's your next one?
All right, so this is it's funny because I didn't talk about shoes on the last one and I intended to. I think shoes are incredibly overrated.
Shoes is my next one I'm going to bring up.
Just like I think running is boring, I think shoes are overrated. I'm obsessed with both of them. But I'm going to say an underrated aspect to improving as a runner is finding the shoe for your stride. I think far too many people buy the shoe that the internet says is the fastest, or that the pros wear, or that has some scientific article that says this has now outperformed blank in a lab, or the prettiest colorway. And of all those, I support getting the prettiest colorway the most. And that's not even that tongue in cheek, because I think you have to feel good to run good. Look good to feel good to run good. But I think finding the shoe that matches your stride's personality for whatever pace you're going to be running that day, I think is really, really important for feeling good long term.
I love it. Why don't you walk that? I mean, people are like, okay, how do I do that?
For example, this
Have about 10 grand to blow on
that's
every
right.
shoe that you're curious about.
This shoe right here, Nike Vaporfly 3. Is there any shoe more
Overrated.
unimpeachable by the running community as just it is fast? It is one of the fastest shoes in the world than the Vaporfly.
I think it's overrated.
Right. But it will be on every list.
It will.
Every runner knows if they line up and there's someone in Vaporflies next to them, well, I don't have an advantage over that person. That's kind of the thought.
It makes the top. I swear to. It makes like the Runner's World top super shoes of the year. It's like number one, and
Yeah.
I put that on my foot. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not even close.
And it's a great shoe if it works for your stride.
100%.
It's not made for me.
Not made for me.
I've now owned 3 different pairs because I
And
keep thinking it's going to. It's not going to work for me.
and I'm in love with their beefed up stepbrother, the Alpha Fly, but
Same.
one different version. Don't worry. I agree with you.
I would take that shoe up to a mile. Maybe I'd race a 5K in them, but I wouldn't like it.
See, those give me a braking effect the faster I go.
I have to be
great
running fast to feel comfortable in that shoe.
They could work for a tempo pace, like tempo thresholdy stuff, but like if I'm trying to run fast, I almost feel like it works against me.
Got it. But a case in point, this is if you surveyed 1 million runners, what is the best super shoe in the world? That's going to have the highest percentage of affirming responses. But it just doesn't work for me. And they're pretty. and they're light and they're airy. They breathe well. They lock down well. They have good grip now. They're everything I could want in a shoe, but they're not for me. And the more I do in that shoe, the more likely I am to not want to run the next workout. And
Mhm.
so finding the shoe that you put it on your feet and you go, I like that. And then you start running the pace that you bought that shoe to run for. And you think, I feel better in the shoe than without it. That's all you need to know about a shoe. I don't care what the stats are. I don't care what the weight is. I don't care what the drop is. I don't care what the brand is. I don't care what special homologation they use. All I care about is, do you feel better in this shoe than you feel in a different shoe? And then secondary, does the stopwatch confirm that? And if it doesn't confirm it, that is still a great shoe to train in, but I wouldn't
Mhm.
race in it.
Yeah, I found an experience with it, and this is almost laughable in hindsight, but when it was an important road day for me, and this is 2017, 18, 19, 20, let's call it. Guess what shoe? I mean, I used a lot of shoes. You want to know what shoe I put on? 8 Mile Tempo with a progression. Do you
Clifton.
remember? The Hoka
Oh,
Bondi.
it's Bondi. I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed.
I mean, that's like a big boy girl, like, I mean,
Max
stacked up
recovery shoe.
max. But it was so responsive for my whatever
Yeah.
was going on with my stride. Like the newer versions, no, but whatever those older models was, I put that shoe on for quality work.
Yeah.
Talk about individualized. Who did that?
Trail racing. I've run from Spartan sprint version, which is 3 or 5K distance, all the way up to a 50K in the original Hoka Challenger 1 and 2.
Hmm.
That shoe was made for my stride. It disappeared on my foot. It might as well have been an Innovate F-Lite 190 or X-Talon
X-Talon
190. F-Lite
F-Lite
was
190.
the non-gnarly version.
Oh.
But either one, super light. This thing disappeared on my feet. I was I could just feel more efficient in that shoe. It helped me keep my stride later, and I felt like I could turn over and run fast. All my PRs in Colorado, all my Strava segments that I've done well on were in that shoe. All my best descents on in the Rocky Mountains were in that shoe.
Hmm.
It just worked for me. Nowhere on earth would you see a list that says your top race day shoe might be the Hoka Challenger ATR. It's their road to trail shoe. It's their gravel shoe. Jim Walmsley loved that for a little bit. He was one of those people that did race in it. He said his rim to rim record. Rim to rim to rim? Well, he got rim to rim on the way to rim to rim to rim. So I guess both were in that shoe. But outside of that, not many people raced in it. And then they changed it. And now I get like my instep chafes in it after 50 minutes. Can't take that shoe past 50 minutes. And the shoe is now, it's like a dead feeling in the foam to me. But for a while, I took that to Tahoe one year for world championships.
Hmm.
That's how much I trusted that shoe. Makes no
So
sense, but it suited me.
so I guess the point is experiment. If you don't feel like you found something that when you know it when it works for you. I'm telling you, like when you
Yep.
get into work that matters, you're like, this shoe just works for me.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't felt like that with a shoe, you'll know it when you feel it. And if you're having to ask, I don't know if I felt it. The answer is you haven't.
Yeah.
Which means keep trying.
And that means when you like super shoes, for example, fancy foam, fancy plates, fancy everything. If you put it on, you're not going to like it when you step into it. That's the only, usually I say, put your foot into it and
Mhm.
they should say, that's not the case with super shoes generally.
Yeah.
Standing and walking feels bad. You have to get up to the pace you're going to use the shoe for. But if you get to that and you're like, I just don't like this. That's all you need to know. There are a million types, not a million. There are a dozen or so super shoes for the road and a dozen more for the trails. And one of them will make you feel that way. So the moment you're not feeling it, it's not going to get better.
Yeah.
Just because it says it's good doesn't mean it is for you. And that Challenger to this day, if they brought back the Challenger 1 or 2, I would choose that over the Tecton X's. I would choose that over the Solomon Pulsars. I would choose that over any of today's like trail rocket ships for any race 60 minutes or longer.
To date, the best trail shoe is the Hoka. What the heck's Evo Speed Goat. I
There you
still
go.
stand by it. There was no even carbon plate in that shoe, but that shoe was the fastest shoe they've made that still had support underneath it. best shoe. I wish they brought that shoe back. Can I stay on shoes? Because that was going to be my next one.
Yes, please.
And this is an angle that I don't know if people think about it in the way I think about it, but we hinted at it already. It's hard to say that super shoes are underrated. Okay. Because
Okay.
that almost is a farce, right? They're not. They're highly touted. But I think high stack height super shoes are one of the most underrated tools into staying and keeping healthy compared to shoes of old. I also find that these high stack height super shoes, you get a lot of bang for your buck and mileage out of them because the carbon plate doesn't condense even when the foam does. And that shoe still works for a very long time, even when the foam is chipped away, when the tread is gone, that carbon plate gives a little and gives back a little. And I find that my shin splint issues have dissipated, 5x pre super high stack height super shoes. I am more available for my training. I take less damage from some of the big work, and it's made me a better athlete. So much so that I bought an entry level super shoe for my recovery days now, the Zoom Fly,
Mhm.
because I feel like they actually save you and keep you available to run more. And looking at them from that angle alone, that's another 4% or 7%.
Yeah.
And so, just from that angle, who cares how fast they make you? I think it's invaluable.
I'm with you. I'm going to give one caveat to that just so people don't overdo it. But super shoes will also injure you if they are the type of shoe that doesn't work perfectly for your biomechanics. Just like when Vibram Five Fingers and Nike Freeze and minimalism became the thing, stress fractures went up like
Mhm.
280% or something. Achilles injuries have gone up a ton since carbon plates became a thing. If you
Mhm.
get the type of carbon plate that puts undue stress on your rear lower chain, it's over time going to hurt you. So everything Kirk said is correct. I can do way more mileage in super shoes and be less beat up. It will prolong my career, absolutely. As
Yep.
long as, once again, I'm in the right shoe for my stride. There are shoes that when I'm in them, I feel better right up until I don't. And then I feel exponentially worse as a result of running in that shoe on my calves, my soleus, and my Achilles. So trust your body in telling you when it doesn't want that shoe. Kirk's found his, right?
Finding a couple of them now, but
Okay.
yes,
Alpha Fly, you can take that thing 500 miles and
I
you're
can.
going to be
I've
fine.
done more than that in them. Yeah.
Yeah. Alpha Fly led to Galen Rupp having Achilles surgery. I am 100% sure of that. So the same shoe affects different people differently.
Well, the caveat being, I very specifically said high stack height shoes that have a bit underfoot. Like if you were to take the Nike Vaporfly for a recovery shoe or the Asics Metaspeed Edge, which is like 5.6
Yep.
ounces, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking these beefed up 8 ounce plus super shoes, the Hokacello, the Alpha Fly, the Zoom Fly,
The New Balance
those,
RC Comps
yes,
or
those
Elites.
versions. Not if it says like 6 ounces on it, I'm not talking about that shoe. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the 8 ounce plus
Yeah. I
shoe.
think I think the world has become as the biking world would say it, a weight weenie. People who are obsessed with shaving grams off. But if I read a super shoe review and they say it feels great, but it's not quite snappy enough, it doesn't feel special at pace, it's a little heavier than I'd want, I'm not really feeling the plate giving me some pop, I think long run shoe.
Yeah, right, right.
That's it. Great. Yeah, I'm not going to race in you, but my goodness, are we going to have some good long runs together?
Yeah, yeah,
If you feel the plate, you're going to end up feeling the plate.
yeah. It's a good point. I'm going to leave it there. I guess I don't need to elaborate more, but I think, I think it's a little bit of a cheat code if you find
Okay.
the right combination for you.
All right.
Yeah.
I am going to say the cliche one, but hills. Hills.
Mm.
I don't care how many times people say hills are the most underrated piece of training. As long as it's underused in training, it's still underrated. Underrated. It's underutilized. And I'm specifically actually going to move away because we talk uphills all the time, and I'm a believer in uphill work. I'm going to say downhills are the most single underrated because they're even talked about less than uphills. So downhill work, and I do mean work, downhill intentional work is maybe the single most underrated type of running there is, in my opinion.
Even if you are a flat road runner.
Yep.
Okay, tell me more.
It's too destructive. If you ever encounter downhills in a road race, it's going to destroy you by the end of the race, especially in things 10K and longer. People's legs are trash. We bring it up all the time, but the Atlanta Olympic Marathon trials destroyed the pros and the elites who'd spent this whole marathon build talking about how ready they were for the hills. They weren't. They were ready for the hills from a road running perspective. They were not ready from a hill perspective.
They weren't ready to run down them. They were ready to run up them.
Yep. And the pounding of the down eventually removed their ability to access their fitness. So from a durability during a race standpoint alone, I think people are not doing enough downhills. I think that the overstriding, the eccentric damage, the high cadence, you got to run with good form downhill. That work is also extremely important to just being a faster, more efficient runner. And there is just like this invisible binding agent that downhills do for your fitness. I can't put a finger on it, so it's a bad description, but yes, they make you more durable. There's also proof that like 1 to 3% downhills run at maximum speed. That true overspeed training will actually make you a faster, more efficient runner. But then there's this invisible thing it just seems to do to all of your running. It seems to just be that rising tide that raises your fitness across the board. I believe uphills do that as well, but they get more lip service than downhills.
Yeah, I do think it needs to be said. I don't think it's cliche. We've just spent a good bit of time in past months talking about how I should cut out hill work, and it's not good bang for my buck. And that's been top of mind for some people still. And I think reminding that the power is still there. It's important.
I've had a few athletes recently run marathons that have a notable amount of descending. One ran a marathon where it's between like 0.5% and 2% downhill the entire way. And
that out west?
What'd you say?
That out west on the West Coast?
Yeah.
Like Tunnel Hill?
It's not Tunnel Hill, but it's very similar, yeah. And then there's another one who just has a slight up and a slight down for miles at a time in this, the Athens Marathon course, things like that. And so we do some workouts to prep for this. And one of them is the classic 3x5K workout. But one 5K is uphill, one's downhill, one's uphill. And next time you do the workout, you go downhill, downhill, or different reps like that. And every single time we do this, the number one piece of feedback is I couldn't believe how much that downhill beat me up. Mm-hmm. Not that the uphill rep was difficult, that downhill rep caught up with me in a sneaky way. And we're talking slight grades we're working at, like less than 6% grades on this stuff.
I haven't been doing a lot of downhill running. I have a hill about 3 miles from my house that I'm considering implementing pretty heavily. A quarter to 600 meter hill with a decent grade, 6 to 12%. I'm thinking of starting some uphill downhill work, like uphill downhill quarters or something, just for just a little new stimulus. So that's been top of mind. I've been thinking about that for a few weeks, so I might do that and get back to you.
When I was in Colorado, I could run uphill from the start. Not well, but I could work hard uphill. I could not work hard downhill. And as my volume rose, my resistance to impact rose, my fitness rose and all that. And somewhere after being there for about a year, when most of the fitness has already shown, I started ripping more downhills because I could efficiently run them hard, like almost tempoing downhill. Like running hard, but not hard. Running fast, but not hard. And my fitness changed after that point. There's something about what is the biggest detraction that people will give towards uphill running is that it's not applicable to your stride. Running downhill is applicable to running fast.
That's a good point. We have just a few minutes here. So do you have anything on the tip of your tongue that you must, like another one on your list?
Not that I must, Kirk.
Well, because I have some, but I don't have any that I must right now.
Let's finish with one. If we need to do a follow-up part 2, we can absolutely do that.
Well, then go for it. You go for it.
No, I'm happy. I've got my big ones out of the way, just like I thought I did last week or earlier this week, I guess it would be.
Well, I say we leave it there, and then maybe we play a cleanup episode where we add in our Now that I
Okay.
think
Then
about
I'm
it,
going to do a short little fast one then, just to end it.
end it.
I still think that 60 to 100 meter column strides, column accelerations are still incredibly underrated to the long distance slow runner. Like 10K running is still slow running. It's not sprinting. Even fast 10Ks, they're not sprints. So I call anything 10K or longer kind of slow, even at the pro level. Like
Mhm.
the speed's not impressive. It's how long they can maintain that speed. Anything that you're going to be running a sub sprinting form, having some version of almost sprinting in your routine is so underrated. And it's hard to put a metric to it. It's more of just how you feel in your daily running stride after doing that for a few weeks. You just have to, you can't, it's like parenting. You never really know until you've done it yourself. That's how this is. You just have to do it and commit to it for a little bit. And suddenly you're like, I get it. And I'm
Mhm.
probably going to keep doing this.
Yeah, I think it's a hack to level up your efficiency
Yeah.
at all strides speeds.
Yeah.
It just you click in once you start running fast and efficient for short bouts.
You just get lighter on your feet.
Hmm.
And
I agree
I
with
don't feel
that.
the need to explore it deeper. Just start doing some 60 to 100 meter accelerations 2 to 3 times a week. Do
It
two
could,
to four of them.
it could even be a classic in the last mile of your recovery run, last mile of a midweek long run, doing like 15:45s, 15 seconds on, 45 seconds off. Finish up your last 5 minutes of your run with that.
Great.
That might serve you great there. Just something
Yeah.
as simple as that. 15 minutes picking up, 45 minutes pretty sloggy, joggy. We'll call it rinse and repeat. Then that way you don't have to make it a separate thing and you're still getting your mileage in. And it's two birds, one stone.
Love it.
Yeah. All
No one
right.
will regret doing that. Some people might regret some downhill work. Some people might regret buying new shoes. No one will regret doing a few strides per week.
'Tis true. Okay.
I'm happy enough.
If you're happy enough, I'm happy enough.
Can't
And
all be
this is a
kings,
short
Kirk.
and this is a shorter episode. Last time it was because of you. You had to push it back. This time it was because I needed to take a nap.
And that is honesty. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because of my situation. So thanks for hopefully you got another second tier podcast to keep you company on your long run, folks.
All right, Kirk, we're going to test how well you know me as we sign off here. I typically come to these if I'm eating one of generally 3 things.
Mhm.
I'm about to go eat one of those 3 things now. What am I going to be eating?
Oh, either like a cold pizza or burger.
That's a cold pizza.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go.
You go enjoy that. I'm going to the gym.
Get after it.
All right, bye guys.